From BTS and BLACKPINK to now even K-pop demon hunters, K-pop has captured the hearts of people worldwide. Korea was a nation completely destroyed by the Korean War, but in just 7 years, they've created not only hardware like semiconductors, but also cultural contents like K-pop that the entire world enjoys. How on earth was this possible? How did K-pop even begin? Everyone might have a different answer, but I believe the birth of one band in the 1990s was the true beginning of K-pop. In the early 1990s, Korea was, as I mentioned in my previous video, in the golden age of a ballad. Sweet and soulful melodies filled every corner of the street. But then, on April 10th, 1992, the history of Korean pop music was completely turned upside down. Back then, there was a TV show called 특종 TV연애. The show had a segment called the Rookie Stage where new singers would perform and judges would evaluate them. That day, I was sitting in front of a TV watching the program. A band appeared on screen and something truly shocking happened. The music itself was shocking, but what was even more shocking was the judges' evaluation. The judges would score the new musicians, and that day, out of a perfect 10, they gave them a very low score of 7.8. The criticism was harsh. The melody is weak, they should have paid more attention to the rhythm, the lyrics lack novelty, the dancing overshadows the singing. But strangely, the low score made people even more curious about them. By the next morning, everyone was talking about them. Someone once said, whether it is good or bad, what matters is being noticed. Indeed, legends never start out ordinary. This group that has such a shocking beginning was none other than 서태지와 아이들, led by 서태지 alongside Yang Hyun-suk and Lee Jun-ho. Yang Hyun-suk later founded YG Entertainment, producing groups like Big Bang and BLACKPINK. Their shocking debut song was 난 알아요. It was a completely new sound in Korean music, rap, dance, hip-hop rhythm, electronic music, and performance-style choreography. Korean music had never seen anything like it. And this song soon exploded in popularity. 난 알아요. 이 밤이 흐르고 흐르면 누군가가 나를 떠나버려야 한다는 그 사실을 그 이유가 이제는 나도 알 수가 있어요. In 1993, 서태지와 아이들 released their second album. The title track was 하여가. Do you know 시조? It's a traditional Korean poetry form. 서태지 took the title of this song from Joseon era 시조, also called 하여가, which begins the famous line 이런 들었더하리 저런 들었더하리. The funny thing is, the song has no real connection to the poem except for the title, but even that alone was enough to get people talking. 서태지 took this classic traditional title and turned it into something completely new. The song was built on hip-hop beats and rap, used unusual rhythms and melodies, and its lyrics were fragmented with no clear storyline. On top of that, he added Korean traditional instruments like 꽹과리 and 태평소. Today, crossover music that mixes traditional and modern styles is quite common, but in 1993, that kind of experiment was almost unheard of. The lyrics, the melody, the rhythm, the instrument, even the title itself, everything felt so chaotic and confusing. But strangely, the very chaos made the song incredibly addictive. At the time, I was a first-year high school student. Korean students are famous for studying a lot, right? Back then, after regular classes, we stayed at school until 10 p.m. for something we called 자율학습, self-study. Of course, it wasn't really self-study, it was a mandatory. And during the so-called self-study time, I was hardly able to study because I just listened to 하여가 over and over again. That was the before streaming, so I listened using cassette tapes. I still remember playing it so much, the tape actually started to stretch. Sometimes I even sneaked out of the self-study classroom with my friends. We listened to 서태지 together and tried dancing to it. Honestly, our dancing was terrible, but we had so much fun. And that's how deeply I was obsessed with 서태지 back then. 너에게 모든 걸 뺏겨버렸던 마음이 다시 내게 돌아오는 것 느꼈지. 부푸른 내 맘속엔 항상 내가 있었어. 하얀 미소에 너를 가득 안고서. I really loved 서태지 too, but compared to other fans, I was nothing. I went to an all-boys high school, and usually boys don't get that excited about the boy bands, right? But 서태지 was different. One of my friends went to 서태지's concert all the time and always carried a wallet with 서태지와 아이들 logo on it. Some students even sneaked into his house and hid there for hours just to see him for a single moment. Looking back now, that was basically stalking. But back then, people were pretty tolerant of that kind of thing. The concept of stalking barely existed in Korea at the time. That's how powerful 서태지's influence was. For those of us who were teenagers back then and are now in our 40s, I think 서태지 played a huge role in shaping our cultural sensibilities. That sensibilities that continues to this day, I think is what binds people in their 40s together. Today, groups like BTS and BLACKPINK are incredibly popular, but in the early 1990s, Seo popularity felt like it was on another level. In the early 1990s, there was no internet, no streaming services. You could only discover new music through TV and radio. With such a limited options, Seo Idol was the only group that could deliver that kind of sound and dance performance. Today, we have countless musicians debuting every single day, streaming let us discover new songs in real time. So people can love BTS and also BLACKPINK and also Stray Kids, NewJeans and so many others at the same time. But in the early 90s, with so few choices, teenagers practically went all in on Seo. That kind of concentrated enthusiasm is something we probably can't recreate anymore. The music industry has changed too much. It's like a dinosaur that exists now only as a fossil. The way we loved Seo, the intensity of that passion, it can be repeated today. And that's exactly why those memories feel so special to today's people in their 40s. It's a shared memory that still connects us and keeps us united even decades later. Of course, even before Seo Idol, there were so many amazing singers and bands. In my previous video, I talked about artists like Lee Moon-se and Shin Seung-hoon. They all made incredible music. They continued the tradition of the previous generation and developed them further, but still, they were part of the older generation style. For teenagers back then, today's people in their 40s, we enjoyed their music too. But deep inside, it felt like our subconscious was whispering, I want something new, but I don't really know what it is yet. And then Seo arrived with a brand new sound, and we realized, oh, this is what we've been waiting for, something completely new. This wasn't just about music preference, it was about generational identity. Seo gave our generation a cultural voice of our own, something that separated us from the older generation. That's why back then, we are so crazy about Seo. Do you know what Shijose Archaeopteryx is? Archaeopteryx was a creature that appeared during the evolution from dinosaurs to birds, the ancestor of modern birds. In Korean, we use Shijose Archaeopteryx to describe something that is the very first of its kind, the one that sets the standard. So who is a Shijose of K-pop? It is Seo Idol. When Seo opened the door to dance-oriented pop music, a wave of new dance groups appeared in Korea. H.O.T., Jax Kids, SES, and many more. Strong dance tracks, flashy choreography, fan communities, official merchandise, unique member personas, concert cheering culture, light sticks, and everything that defines K-pop today began to take shape in that era. And that legacy continues to today with groups like BTS and Stray Kids. So Seo's debut in 1992 and the K-pop landscape of 2025 are connected across 30 years. In a broader sense, Seo opened a new chapter in Korean music history, and the style of music we are now called K-pop really began with him. So I think Seo truly earned the title Shijose of K-pop. In January 1996, a shocking announcement shook the whole country. Seo Idol said they were disbanding. Their fourth album would be the last. The news stunned everyone. Fans cried, and someone even held a protest demanding that the group cancel the breakup. After the breakup, the three members went their own ways. Seo continued as a solo artist, pursuing even more experimental music. Lee Junho became a music producer. Yang Hyun-suk founded YG Entertainment in 1996, which later produced Big Bang, 21, BLACKPINK, and grew into one of the biggest entertainment companies in Korea. The three members continued their careers in different directions, but the legend of Seo Idol, the group that changed the history of Korean pop music, came to an end. Nearly 30 years have passed since then. During the time, many incredible artists have come and gone. But even today, there's no other musician who reshaped the entire industry and opened a whole new era the way Seo did. Sure, BTS and BLACKPINK became global superstars and brought K-pop to the world. But if their musical DNA still connects back to Seo, then maybe a true post-Seo hasn't appeared yet. From his debut in 1992 all the way to 2025, for more than 30 years, we have still been living with the influence of Seo. After Seo Idol disbanded, I kept listening to many artists like Chaorim, G.O.D, and many others. I sang their songs at karaoke until my voice went hoarse. But I liked those songs simply as songs. I never again became so deeply invested in one individual or one band the way I was with Seo. Back then, graduation ceremonies were held in February when Seo Idol announced their breakup in January 1996. I was just about to graduate from high school. And I feel like my passion for Korean pop music also graduated at that moment. From then until now, no other musicians has ever impacted me with the same intensity as Seo Taiji. So when it comes to Korean pop music after Seo Taiji, I honestly don't have much to say anymore. In the Korean music world, people often say Korean pop music is divided into two eras, before Seo Taiji and after Seo Taiji. And after telling this whole story, it might sound like I'm praising Seo Taiji too much, but I hope you understand I'm not trying to present an objective historical analysis. What I will share is simply my personal experience and my personal emotions connected to Seo Taiji. When I first listened to Seo Taiji, I was in my teenage years, the stormy, confusing age of adolescence. It was the moment when a young boy first discovers the music of his generation, the language that felt like his own. That shock, that emotional impact I felt back then is still crystal clear in my memory today. And these memories, these shared emotions, are something that many Koreans in their 40s still carry together. This emotional bond, this shared cultural memory is one of the things that unites the 40s generation in South Korea. 한결같은 너희들의 정성이 우리에겐 너무 커다란 힘이 되었지. 편지 속에 수많았던 사연들, 예쁜 마음 모두 다 느낄 수가 있었어. 우리들이 힘든 일을 겪을 땐 그 곁에는 아무도 있어주질 않았어. 다만 우리가 견딜 수 있던 건 너희들의 크나큰 사랑이었어. 소리쳐주던 예쁘게 웃었던 아름다운 너희들의 모습이 좋았어. 함께 기뻐하고 모두 다 같이 웃고 서로를 걱정했던 우리들만의 옛 추억들.